What's going on, good people? It's your boy, John, the Date Dr. Clark. And I got some things I want to get off my chest. Now, of course, I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance, but tonight we're going to get on a very sensitive topic because I'm tending to see a lot of couples, a lot of males, a lot of females that are unfortunately / fortunately going through what I'm getting ready to chat with you all about. So the real statement of it all is forgiving him after he cheats. Now, with that being said, I have 4 basic principles that I want to chat with you all about. Just 4. And of course, the average member of society may feel as though there's some additional segments, but I'm only going to give you 4. With that being said, we have to start with our initial foundation. And what I mean by foundation, I mean something very similar as trying to build a house. Because if you think about it, imagine trying to build a house with a very unstable foundation. What's going to happen? The house is actually going to become unstable. The house is going to bulge over. The house is going to just crowd over. And of course, it's not going to be a successful place for you and your children or your family members to live. So with that being said, with trying to overcome all those obstacles, with trying to forgive him for cheating, we need to now establish a reasonable foundation. John, what do you mean by foundation? I mean foundation as in get in contact with a higher source. Whatever your religion is, whatever your culture is, whoever your higher power is, whoever your God is. I know who my God is. But I guess the main thing is finding and locating a primary support. Finding and locating a foundation. Someone you can stand on. Something you can stand on. Something that can kind of add that positivity into your spirit. And it's not just the religious avenue. It's not just the Jesus Christ. It's not just the Christian belief avenue that I'm trying to preach right now. Another foundation is more so the mentality of things. Because sometimes when we're trying to overcome those particular obstacles, sometimes when we're feeling so overwhelmed with particular things, sometimes when we're trying to move forward in life, sometimes we can try to do so within a negative mind frame, and that does absolutely nothing but nothing. I'm going to say it again just in case you didn't hear me. Sometimes when we try to move forward with that negative state, with that negative mind frame, we move nowhere but nowhere. We do absolutely nothing but nothing. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the first principle that I want to educate you all on as far as forgiving him after he cheats is creating that stable foundation, finding that higher power, becoming closer with the Lord, asking for strength and guidance and wisdom and encouragement to be able to move forward. Ask for encourage, guidance, strength, and wisdom, being able to be more positive, and ask for that courage, that guidance, and wisdom, that strength to have more of a positive mind frame, because there's no other way to try to do so. There's no other platform to try to encourage yourself on moving forward without having that powerful yet positive higher power, without having that powerful and that positive mind frame. There's no intent, there's no desire, there's no passion. Ain't going about it being very negative. And that's step 1. Step 2 is where we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. And step 2, I call it closure. Now, the average person nowadays, the average aunt, the average uncle, the average third cousin, when we provide closure, we want to question them. We want to question them. Well, what time were you there? How long did you do it? How long did you guys have sex? Was her sex better than mine? When did you start doing it? How often did you all text? How often did you all email? Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, women, girls, that's not closure. I'm going to say it again just in case one of y'all got AT&T, T-Mobile, or Sprint, and you may have dropped the ball. That's not closure. Questioning him. How often did you all call her? How often did you text her? How often did you email her? Where did you all go? Where did you meet? When did you do this? When did you do that? Why did you do this? Ladies and gentlemen, that's not closure. Are you paying attention to how many questions I just asked you over the past 30 seconds? Because one question is going to be followed by the next. That second question is going to be followed by the third. That third question is going to be followed by the 18,000 question. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not closure. That's going in reference to the first thing. That's going against the grain. That's going against the positivity that I'm really trying to dig into you. So with that being said, we really need to focus on rearranging our own definition of closure, ladies and gentlemen. Because what I just explained is what the average person is doing. So I guess you're thinking now, well, John, you've upset me right now, so what exactly is closure? Ladies and gentlemen, closure is a different frame of thinking. Closure is a way of asking yourself, asking for forgiveness, asking the Lord to help you, give you strength, to help give you that motivation, to help you deter your way of thinking, to help you give that strength and that courage and that wisdom to think on a positive formality. Closure is more so changing the locks on that negative mentality and rearranging those locks and replacing with something that's much more positive. Closure is, talking with your significant other. Closure is saying, hey, babe, I'm ready and willing and I'm capable and able to forgive you, but I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need that communication there. I don't want to question you what you're doing. I don't want to have to look through your phone. I don't want to have to watch you while you sleep. I don't want to have to threaten you while you sleep. I don't want to have to hit you. I don't want to have to do those destructive type things because that's not the way I want to do closure. Society, aunts and uncles, we educate our nieces, our nephews as far as having closure, as far as being irritable towards them, calling them everything but a man of God, oh, but a woman of God. Society, those aunts and those uncles, they tell us that closure is a matter of doing those deceitful things, being very petty, doing those things that can add fuel to the fire. Ladies and gentlemen, those same aunts and uncles, those same people that gave you that negative advice, what are they doing now? Ladies and gentlemen, this new form, this new word that's now in the year 2017 now is about petty, and we hear it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not closure. That's not closure. That's not closure. Closure is being able to shut one door and have the next door being able to open, but nothing but flowers and roses and love and happiness and being more positive. Now I realize, as a disclaimer, when we're going through and we're trying our best to move forward as far as cheating, it's going to be a very difficult process. But we have to change the way that we're thinking. Yes, I realize society and our aunts and our uncles are telling us that we need to be a particular way. But take heed, take a suggestion, take my advice as far as doing it my way. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've decided to add the big man in the sky as far as helping an average woman overcome those emotional, those sensitive obstacles to move forward with her man. Because cheating is one of those very sensitive things. Yes, it's very disrespectful. But when it's something that powerful, we need a higher source, that higher power, that foundation, that new form of thinking to kind of help us get to a better place. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's switch up how we're thinking. Let's change from a negative to a positive. Let's create that foundation because nobody wants that foundation of our home to be unstable. So when we're going about the thing, let's create the foundation. Let's consider a higher source. Let's focus on the closure. Let's not focus on being petty. Let's not focus on being irritable. Let's not focus on doing everything that aunt and that uncle or that third cousin told you to do as far as being deceitful, as far as returning the favor, as far as having attitudes, and of course, as far as being negative. Now, I do realize, once again, I'm going to repeat the disclaimer. I realize that we're not perfect. We can't forget everything. But the ultimate goal is to at least try. Because yes, we realize this person has done us wrong, but you decide to stay. But you decided to stay. But you have decided to stay. And that same aunt and uncle would tell you to do everything negative towards this person just to prove a point, just to show them that you've been hurt. I realize, I get it. We wanna defend ourselves. We want to show them that we were hurt, but they already know. And of course, it may seem like I'm taking up for the next person, but I'm not. I'm educating you on the power of removing the pride. I'm educating you on the power of being humble. I'm educating you on the power of having that sense of humility. I'm educating you on the power of forgiveness. And yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's challenging, but it's a heck of a lot worth it when we follow the pathway. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, establish the foundation. Establish a bit of closure. And I got two more things I want to chat with you about. So with that being said, the next thing is replace and revise. Now, it's going to be somewhat of repetitive of what we just said a second ago as far as number 2, as far as the closure. But I want you to think about it this way. Let's more so pay attention to what exactly we need to replace when it relates towards moving forward. What do we need to replace? We also need to replace some of those negative things that's going to cause us to have difficulty moving forward. So with that being said, we have to do our best to try to replace the way that we're thinking, because the way that we're thinking now is that, oh gosh, what if he wants to have sex? I don't know if he's thinking about her. Oh gosh, how many people have I told as far as what that may have happened? Oh gosh, how have I been interacting on things towards social media? How have I been venting? How have I been communicating towards my man? Do I have an attitude? Am I holding grudges? Am I refusing not to pray? Am I not actually making signs of trying to forgive this man? So with that being said, we have to now think of some of those negative things that we need to start replacing. Yes, I know it's difficult, but guess what? You decide to stay. You decide to stay. And when you decide to stay, your job now is to make every bit of effort to at least try to move forward with this person. And by doing that, we have to sometimes replace some of those negative attributes that's going to cause us to stay right there in that standstill. But we cannot do it by ourselves. That's why I feel as though that we need to add the higher power with us. And while we're adding that higher power, we're adding that new form of positivity within our mind frame. And while we're doing that, we're going to increase the chances of communicating a heck of a lot more with the person that unfortunately caused a bit of trust to be lost, with that being said. So with that being said, we're focusing now on replacing some of those negative attributes. And kind of revising those and replenishing those with something that's more positive. With that being said, you can start reading more. You can start asking God to help you. You can start communicating much more with your significant other. You can start doing things by associating with friends. You can start having additional space. You can start going swimming. You can start going exercising. You can start listening to music. You can start listening to inspirational videos. Ladies and gentlemen, I can go on. The list continues. But what I don't want you to do is snap back into that unforeseen reality of the closure that the aunt and uncle usually gives us when they think we need to lash back, we need to get back at our significant other. Because that never works. Yes, we want to prove a point, but it's an even more beautiful point when we can show the world, when we can show society, when we can show ourselves that we're able to in reality to move forward in life, but move forward in life with that significant other. But most importantly, move forward in life with adding that primary support system within our mind frame. Moving forward, being able to be more positive. Moving forward, being able to forgive this person. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the main three things. Establishing a foundation, changing the way that we're thinking, providing the closure. And the third thing is more so replacing and being able to revive. Now, the last and final thing before I talk you all's head off is the last thing that's really going to help us move forward in consideration of him cheating is remembering to love each other. That's probably one of the most difficult yet challenging things to do when someone has hurt us so much. But you got to remember, you decided to stay. You decided to take a hold of some of the things that may have happened. You decided to remember and rekindle back on some of the reasons that kind of brought us together. You decided to remember that you started to add the Lord into your Savior, add the Lord into your mind frame, add the Lord into your spirit. You decided to be more positive within your mind frame. You decided to be more positive within your relationship. You decided to be more positive within your marriage. And most importantly, you decided to be more positive within yourself. So with that being said, I'm not asking you to forget everything that's ever been done. I'm asking you to establish that continuation of some of the things that kind of brought you all together. I'm asking you all to remember to go out there and date. I'm asking you all to remember to go out there and have fun. Yes, it's going to be challenging. Yes, things are going to trigger you. Yes, things are going to, bring up old memories. Yes, those things are going to happen. But what do we do when those things happen? We begin to communicate. We begin to ask for a little bit of space. Not space as in leaving days or weeks at a time, but space as in, let me just have a little time to think. I'm having some of these thoughts. Yes, they're coming back, but I really want to have some time to either take a break, get a little space, or just communicate about some of those things. Or take in consideration the third attributes that we kind of chat about as far as doing things that kind of replace and replenish or revise some of the way that we're thinking. We have to be mindful of some of those things. We have to be very mindful of some of these things. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we've kind of gone over like the 4 principles as far as going to help the average woman get over, move forward, and move past some of those deceitful things that maybe he's done to us. That's establishing that primary support. That's establishing that foundation. The next thing is reestablishing the closure, because the average aunt and uncle is exposing us to what the negative side of closure really is. The third thing is, revising and replenish. And last but definitely not least is remember to love each other. Remember to communicate. Yes, it's still going to be friction. Yes, that's okay. But when you've exhausted every available option to change the way that you're thinking, when you've exhausted every available option to do what's right, when you all are communicating, the rest is history. The rest is how I want you all to dictate it. So with that being said, feel free to share this video. Feel free to share or instant message someone that's really going through it all. Just want to let you know that I love you. I appreciate all that I'm doing. I appreciate all that you all are listening. And I guess my desire and my passion is, to give back to the world, give back to the community. I love what it is that I do. I love the couples that I'm serving. Most importantly, I love the individuals that I'm serving. And I love those that are willing to listen to this video and take heed of it. With that being said, you all be safe, be blessed. Remember those 4 foundations, remember the 4 principles. You all be safe out there. Feel free to look me up on my website, social media, John the Date Dr. Clark, www.datedoctor.com. All right, good people.